while I'm painting today, as I stated when I first logged in, I want to talk a little bit about these individuals who are attached to the adult entertainment industry who are crying discrimination when it comes to the social media platforms banning them due to being members of the adult entertainment industry. Is it right? Yes, it is. And I actually find it very hypocritical, actually, that certain people in that world are calling discrimination when, from my perspective, no one in no industry over the years, from my perspective, has been more discriminatory against anyone or anything than the adult entertainment industry. First off, call me crazy, but over the past, I'd say, couple of decades, there really have not been that many individuals in that world of color. Okay? And then on top of that, the individuals of color that have been there have not been treated fairly, ethically. They definitely haven't received the same wages as their counterparts who are white. So, before you call or scream discrimination, shouldn't you get your own house in order first? Just a thought. Just a thought. But that's not the primary reason as to why I don't feel that sex workers, prostitutes, escorts, porn stars, adult content studios, and so forth should be able to maintain social media accounts on the mainstream platforms such as Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and the plethora of others that are in existence. I don't think that they should be able to, because of the simple fact that sex work is not work. It's slavery. I actually posted quite an extensive video blog not too long ago, a few days ago actually, specifically about how today's pornography industry in actuality is no more than a modern incarnation of slavery, white slavery specifically. It really is. Ideally, pornography, the concept of it at least, is an art form. Okay? Now that's ideally. I think that the American pornographic industry had a chance to make their world a viable artistic venue and industry. But too many people were too greedy. Oh, this silver is beautiful on here, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see the sheen, if it translates on camera, but it's really beautiful. But due to greed, specifically sex traffickers, pimps, whatnot, the pornography industry today is no more than an online video billboard for both legal and illegal prostitution. And I mean, really think about what I'm about to say here, okay? Mainstream social networks, like I said, YouTube, Twitter, and whatnot, they're for the general public, meaning both adults and teenagers, children. You got people from all walks of life, of all ages on these platforms. And what's always concerned me over the years has been just the mere fact that children are coming across so much adult content, and so much of the adult content, especially the parodies, at first glance, you don't even notice right away that it might be adult content. And kids don't need to be exposed to that. I mean, already kids are having to grow up so quickly in today's age. And, I do get that, since the beginning of time, essentially, you've had sex work, but that does not mean that children need to be exposed to these themes and these concepts at all. So I feel that, for the adult entertainers who want to be on a social network, they need to create their own social network. And quite a few people have created social networks specifically for that particular world. But that's where they need to be. Don't be crying discrimination when, it's an industry that is based and that even profits off of racism and bigotry and discrimination and, feeding into negative stereotypes of people who don't deserve it. Don't cry discrimination, but also don't act as though this hasn't been something that's been brought upon yourselves. It's very telling from my perspective that you do have the adult union willing to take a social network such as Instagram to task when it comes to alleged discrimination. But what about that porn industry hate crime? Why are they afraid to touch that? What's the reason? Is it because it benefited them in some way? Because it seems like it did spread quite a bit of false propaganda. Gotta clean your own house before you talk about anybody else. That's my thought on that. But today's incarnation of slavery, which is the porn industry, it's just not ethical. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, but individuals in that world, they don't even receive residuals like normal mainstream Hollywood actors and actresses. That's something that should have changed a long time ago. But the people in that world, they're so upset about or so scared to upset the apple cart. They're so scared to really talk about things that matter, that particular situation has never been properly rectified. Sure as hell hasn't. Oh, this is turning out beautiful, man. I noticed that there are some people in that world actually who try to contact me on social media. Please don't. For many years, I was open to talking with many of you, but not anymore. Not anymore. Mainly because of the level of hypocrisy. So many in that world are so full of it. And so many just don't even bother to do their research or educate themselves prior to talking to me. And I don't want to talk to anybody who is lazy, who is unethical, and who seems incapable of thinking for themselves. Nowadays, my life is very positive, and I'm keeping it that way. It took me a long time to get to this point. Truly did. But it was worth the effort. Definitely. Something else that I think people need to realize when it comes to the adult entertainment industry is that anyone who speaks out is strategically silenced. You have people within the world of adult entertainment who try to silence the social media of those who do speak out against that world, people such as myself. They'll even try to manufacture lawsuits and crap against you in order to shut you up or silence you. And the social media companies are very aware of these things. It's interesting to me that it's kind of like, I guess people thought that no one was noticing things that I've been going through. Just because people have been quiet doesn't mean that no one's noticed. It just means that they've been quiet about it, and they're like, okay, let's see what these people do. And they've seen. And it hasn't been very pretty. Not at all. It's been horrific, actually. It's been downright horrific. The death of Shelley Lubin, man. You know, we still haven't heard the very tail end of that yet. But it's interesting to me that certain parties who stalked and bullied her over the years, they really do seem to believe that they've gotten away with something. They haven't. Oh, that was such a sad situation. It really hit me a bit harder than I thought it did. You know, she's someone who I consider to be a friend. I don't believe that if it weren't for her contact, I would be living as good of a life as I live today. She was a very good person. Very grateful to the fact that she reached out to me. And it really shows that everything is for a reason in life. Sometimes you don't know why you encounter certain people, why you cross paths with certain people. You might even curse that you had the misfortune of knowing certain people. But don't do that. Just give everything time, because in time, the powers that be, your higher self as well, does reveal what's what and why certain things happened in your life as they did. Without a doubt, God does come through. God definitely comes through. And that's why I believe that you can't just believe in God. You can't just believe in a higher power or your higher self even. You got to know. That's why nowadays I can't really define myself as a Christian, because when I think of a Christian, it's someone who believes in God and Jesus Christ. But I don't just believe, I know. I've witnessed miracles in my life. I've seen things happen. So I can't just say I believe. It's beyond that at this stage.